Hello, welcome to product updates for September, October 2022. Did you miss us? I know it's been a while. I haven't talked to you in this channel, but we're doing some changes here in how we communicate our product changes. We changed the way we did our office hours, and now every month you'll have a video like this with the latest and greatest news for developers at VTEX. So let's get started with the agenda. Here's some of the updates you'll be hearing this time around. I have some updates on new apps, have a new API for Marketplace, have a new way to implement login integrations that makes your life easier, and a bunch of updates for payments. So let's get started with Gift List app. And for this one, let me invite Henrique to the floor. How's it going, Henrique?
Oh, hi George. I'm good, thank you. Hi everyone.
No problem.
So, I'm here to present this new app. It's the gift list that gives a new experience to shoppers. So it's a very powerful app that has some features. So what's a gift list? It's a list where a shopper can choose products from the store and creates a list, and uh, they can share this list and ask people to buy those items in the store as gifts. So
So for instance,
this,
if it's my wedding, I could make a
yes,
list and have
exact.
my guests buy things for me.
That's
But do the
exactly
actual
it.
items get bought or something
That's
else?
exactly it. It's very useful for like your birthday or a wedding or a baby shower. So you can just select those items and ask other people or Santa Claus, and they can just buy it and then you receive. So
Got
what
it.
actually happens is that you share this list, and other shoppers that we are calling the guests, they will buy the items in the list, and when they buy those items, these will be converted in credits in a gift card, and then the shopper that created the list will have this credit, and they can choose to either buy the same items or buy other items in the list in the store. So they have
Got it.
this flexibility. So here we have like the list of what's what they are able to do, both the creator of the list and the guest. And we have here this the technical documentation, because there are like a lot of features and a lot of steps in the setup. Um,
Yeah. So it's
you
not plug and play 100%, right?
Yes,
When you
yes, like
install the app, you probably have to create like a new page in your
yes,
store.
it is actually like a bunch of apps. Like there is the main app, but there are other apps because you can have like a custom checkout. You have this interface in the admin where you can see and manage the lists in the store. So there are many features. You can link both the main account and the sub account. There is indexing the in the intelligent search. So there are a
Got it.
lot of stuff going behind the scenes
Mhm.
that you have to configure, but you can give this amazing experience to the clients.
That's amazing. And I guess everything that developers have to do to learn to actually use this in the stores they support, it's all in the announcement. They just have to go to the developer portal, right?
Yes, there's everything there. In the announcement, we have like many screenshots of how it will show up in the store, and then we have the technical documentation that shows all the steps that you need to do to configure and make everything work.
All right. Okay. Thanks for now, and we'll see you a little bit later in this event. But for now, take a breather. Thanks for now. And yeah, amazing opportunity for stores that, are very giftable, right? If you can give a gift to someone else from your store, maybe try out Giftless app. Now, for another app that we have available today, uh, we have the new affiliates program app. And for this, I'd like to call Isabella to talk a little bit about what the Affiliates Program app does. Hey, Isabella, it's your first time here, right?
Yes. Hi, George. Hi, everyone. So I'm here to talk about the Affiliates Program app, which is a very cool app that allows your store to associate with anyone pretty much who wants to promote the sales by receiving a commission over that sale. So how is it done? The Affiliate Programs app creates a specific URL and it's targeted with a parameter for each affiliate so that when that affiliate shares the URL with a client or a shopper, any kind of shopper, and the shopper buys something through the URL, the affiliates earns a commission over that bought, over that purchase. So the image below is like what the store would look like in the URL shared, which is pretty much the storefront of the store. And
So it's like their own little influencer store, right? Like a person can share, oh, this is my version of this store with my selected items, whatever, and I'll get commission for that, right?
precisely, George. And it's customizable, so they can have like the products they want. It's very flexible. And besides the URL that the affiliates have, they also have a page of their own to keep track of orders and commissions. Is with a dashboard. It's pretty cool. And the affiliates don't need any kind of access to the admin. It's all like in a separate page. And
So you can even invite people that don't have access to your store details, or like the people can be outside your team and still have their own storefront where they can, leverage their influence to bring more customers to your store, right?
exactly, anyone can be an affiliate. Like it's just people that want to associate to promote sales and get commissions. It can be really
Nice.
anyone. But there is a restriction. The app is only compatible with VTEX.io stores, so make sure you fit this criteria before getting too excited about it. And to move on, how we get it, right? So first you need to install it. You can get it in our VTEX app store. But after that, you need to follow up with some configurations. So you need to install some dependencies and blocks in your store's theme, and that will allow you to, for example, get the shareable URL the affiliate will need to share the URL.
Got it. Yeah. So I saw that there's like a peer dependencies part. It's probably for that affiliate page that you were showing earlier, right? A little bit up on the document. So there's affiliate page, affiliate profile page, and the affiliate form. Oh,
Yes.
interesting.
Yes, because with the form, the affiliate himself or herself can fill in and become an affiliate. You don't necessarily need to have it your store like filling out the data and everything. It can, so it's very agile.
Like anyone could sign up through that form, basically.
Exactly.
And is there like an approval process that's already in the app? Do you know?
So the store gets the form and they have to approve it or not. So yes.
Okay. Nice. Well, all the details are there in the documentation, right? Developers can check it out. But if a developer is asked to implement that in their store, basically what they have to do is work through the documentation to set up those 3 points, right? And if they have any more questions, they can check out all the links there in the announcement. Do you have anything else you want to share about it that's important for them?
I would just like to show how it will look up in the admin. So
Okay.
it will have 3 pages where the merchant can also keep up with like, how can I manage my affiliates? Or how can I keep up with their orders and commissions? So you have a single page for each one of these questions. Like you have the affiliate management, the order management, and the commissions management page. So it's pretty cool to give it a go, and it sure can be very helpful for every kind of store.
Yeah, in these social media days, people have a lot of influence. Let's leverage this to, get more products out there. Thanks a lot, Isabella, for your presentation. Really exciting news.
Thank you, George.
See you
for
next
having
time.
me.
All right. So yeah, affiliates program. Get more people to sell your products for you. And from what I saw, there's no like automatic payouts, but you do have commission management. You could check out how much is due for each affiliate. So that's also really awesome. Let's move on to the next one. It's a marketplace-focused announcement. It's a new catalog API for Seller Portal. And for this one, let me invite Julia. Hey, Julia, how's it going?
Hi, everyone. I'm good. Thank you. So recently, we have launched multiple features to make it easier for sellers to connect with marketplaces and manage their operation. And one of these resources is Seller Portal, which is an addition of the VTEX platform with essential features such as inventory catalog for an e-commerce. So it allows sellers to connect with the marketplace, expanding their operation and growing sales even. So before, it was only possible to manage the Seller Portal catalog using the platform's interface. But now, with this release, you can use the catalog API specifically designed for the scenario for Seller Portal. So just to give you an overview, there are products, SKU, brands, and category endpoints, which allow you to create, fetch, and edit all this information. It's worth noting that SKUs are added and altered directly through the product endpoint, so create products and update products, which is quite different from the current API we're used to. And the main benefit here is that with this API, these actions can be performed in bulk, so massively, and can even be integrated with other systems if necessary. So you can find more
Like an
details.
ERP, for instance, or
Yeah.
PIM, that you have your products there. But do sellers send their products to the API, or is it the marketplace using the API? Who would be the user of that API?
The sellers.
So the sellers themselves. So from what I understand of Seller Portal, like there's a marketplace. Each seller gets their own little account. That's like the special edition of VTEX. And usually they would have to set up their catalog by hand. That's what you're saying. And then now they have this API. They could, run through API, run through their own ERP, and everything works well.
Exactly. That was a long-term request, actually. So I'm pretty sure this release makes a lot of people happy because it was everything by hand. So if you had a huge catalog, it was really complicated to just go through each product one by one. And now you can do it through API. It's a much faster process. So it's good.
Very nice. Yeah. And just a final question for you. Is Seller Portal available to anyone, or do you need to have a special license? What's the current status of Seller Portal VTEX?
You need to be invited by a marketplace, which is a VTEX account. So any VTEX account can work as a marketplace and invite sellers through, there's an invite seller page in the VTEX admin. You can check the documentation about Seller Portal and Help Center to find more information on how to invite sellers. But this has to start from a VTEX account. You can't just request to be to use Seller Portal without this connection with the marketplace, right?
Got it. And it's a one-to-one connection with marketplaces, right?
Yeah, currently it's a one-to-one connection.
All right. That's great news. I'm sure folks from different seller accounts will be very happy. Thank you, Julia, for your announcement.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, VTEX is expanding in this marketplace, these marketplace features, right? So it's very nice to see have more developer-focused stuff. Okay, so for the next announcement, we have some improvements for those of you who have to implement SAML Login. So for this one, let me call Pedro. How's it going, Pedro? Logging in a lot lately?
Yes, every day. So thanks for having me. So we have an easier way to implement SAML Login for your store's admin panel. And what it means, not actually SAML per se, but custom SAML. And it has been an option for some time now that you can implement custom SAML Login. And what that means is that you can enable your store's employees to log into the VTEX admin panel without having to create a VTEX account, a specific account just for that. You can set up an existing identity provider, such as a corporate email or something like that. So, as I said before, this is not new. The new thing is that it is now much easier to accomplish. So, if you head to your admin account settings authentication page and look for the admin tab, the options for logging into your store's admin panel, you can go to my SAML and set up, and you will see that all the information that you need to provide is already there. So before, what you would do is you would open a support ticket and list all the identity providers information, and that is not super fast, and sometimes there will
It
be
required manual intervention, right? We had to copy
Yes.
paste from your support ticket.
Yes, and sometimes there will be a lot of back and forth, right? So this new interface allows store operators to configure this with much more autonomy and much faster, right?
That's awesome. And of course, all the information for you to understand what to fill in each one of those fields is the same as we had before, right? It's in the SSO SAML guide. But
Yes.
now, instead of sending it through a ticket, you input it through the admin interface.
Yes, that's exactly right. And we have the link to the SSO SAML guide in the announcement, in the release note, and you can check everything there. It has all the details and everything you need to know about SAML and how to set up step by step.
That's awesome. Thanks a lot, Pedro. Great to see you
Thanks,
here.
George.
Awesome. So lots of things that are new here in our platform for developers. Now we're going to get into a bunch of payments related announcements, I think. And for that, I'm going to call Henrique once again. We miss you, Henrique. How's it going?
Oh, hi. Thanks for having me. Hello again. So we'll start to say about those many announcements for payments, right? So the first one is so
For
what
Black
we
Friday,
have
right?
here.
It's coming up.
All right.
We're in November already.
Oh, okay. I'll just change a tab here. Okay, homologation freeze. So what we have here is that we are getting close to Black Friday. So this is a very important time for VTEX and for all the stores and the e-commerce. So to make sure that everything goes right, we are making this homologation is for payment connectors. So what happens here is when payment providers want to publish or change a connector in VTEX, they have to go through this homologation process where our team receives the request and then verifies that everything is okay and then publishes the changes or the new connector and makes it everything available to all the stores. So it takes some time from our team to make this process. So to make sure that everything goes right and we make sure that the platform is stable during Black Friday, we are having this freeze in the homologation for payment connectors. So the hard date for making request was on October 11th. So every request for homologation made after this date, so starting from October 12th, will stay in a line and they will have to wait for this request to be processed after Black Friday. So the process will resume only on December 6th, so next month. So only the request made until October 11th will be processed for Black Friday, and the changes should be made until November 18th. So that's in 2 weeks.
Because there's some like back and forth, right? Like when there's an homologation process, our teammates say like, oh, this response is taking too long, or this part of our protocol isn't working that well, right?
That's exactly it. It's not always straightforward. Maybe you have to make some corrections. You have to review and make sure that everything is okay to then publish it for all the stores in VTEX should be available, and then it can be used, and then make sure that the payments are working right.
Yeah, and this is super important, right? We don't want payments to fail for our merchants, right? We offer the ease for them to set up and configure payments really easily. That's done through their connectors, but maybe sometimes people want to make like last minute changes and say like, hey, usually we're okay with that. Not during Black Friday, our biggest sales season of the year. So that's great to know. And if you wanted to make some changes and you didn't get your requests done by October 11th, don't worry. By December 6th, we're back to normal operations, right?
Right. Like the request will not vanish; they will just be processed after.
Got it. Yeah, and just if you're a developer and you've never done that before, maybe you're worried that this affects you. It doesn't affect you at all. It affects people who want to publish new payment connectors. So that's totally fine. I mean, the idea here is for us to guarantee the peace of mind of our store owners.
Yeah, that's right? It. And you can also check all the documentation for the homologation process here in the payment provider homologation article, right? So the technical documentation, it's all in there.
Cool. So the next one that I have set up for us to talk about is the payments integrations can now be developed for payments on a POS. What do you have to tell us about that, Henrique?
Okay, this is also, I think it's a big announcement because this is about making payments working on physical stores, and since we want to provide this unified commerce experience to shoppers, and we are now expanding on this because before, just to give a little bit of context, for payments on physical stores, we had our native solution that was VTEX payment.
VTEX payments, yeah.
So this was discontinued, and to keep providing payments on physical stores, we are now expanding our payment provider protocol so payment providers can develop their integrations for payments on physical stores. In this case, for physical credit and debit cards using a payment terminal that we also call a POS, that stands for point of sale.
And basically it's an extension. So if you publish your payment connector using payment provider protocol and you want to extend it to physical stores, like it will be just one connector at the VTEX admin, or it'll be two separate connectors?
Yes, you can create, like if you already have a working connector, you can just change your connector to also support those payment methods. But it's a very specific flow. There are like many steps to make it work. But yeah, you can make the changes in an existing connector and it will work. Because we have there are a lot of details that you have to take into account. For first, like there's the manifest that is a list of all the available payment methods of a connector, so you have to include those in there for the credit or the debit card, depending on what you might want to support, or both. It works with asynchronous payments, so you have to make use of callbacks, and there are some payment apps that you have to work with, because you have to scan or identify the POS by the serial number. So you have to use this payment app to make this connection work, and this payment flow also works using the in-store app. So the in-store app is this app that the seller in the physical store uses, and they choose the items and then finish the purchase. And there you have this option to choose the physical credit or debit card, and then it will call the connector that will need this feature, right?
So it's mostly for in store, right? That's the main use case. Right now, we don't really have any other use cases in mind for
now it's
payments on a
only
POS, right?
for in-store working with a POS.
Got it. And we have more than one way to develop a payment connector, but this specific solution is just for payment provider protocol, right?
Oh, right. You can make like there are no limitations. You can make a payment a standard payment provider protocol connector, but you can also choose to use Vitex.io payment provider framework.
All of those work with POS.
All of those works with payments on a POS. So you just have to follow all those steps there. And we have also here the technical documentation saying all the steps and how is the flow, how you have to do the manifest, everything about the payment apps, and how to test and publish the connector.
Got it. Well, it's great to know that we now can have more payment options and folks can, integrate whatever they want there in their physical stores. Good to know. Now we have some little details, but they're always great for us to talk about. The first one is that we now have a signature parameter on a callback URL for payments integration. So what's that about?
All right. So first, just to give a little bit of context, the callback is something that we use for asynchronous payments, and how we resolve a callback is through a callback URL. So our gate, when we are performing a payment, the gateway calls the connector, and it might, when it doesn't receive immediately the response, if the payment is approved or denied, it means that it is in a synchronous payment, and then the response will only be received after, and then you resolve it, meaning when you will receive the final payment status, it is done through a callback by calling the callback URL. So here we have an example of callback URL that the payment connector calls the gateway to inform the final payment status. So what we are changing here is that to make sure that the callback these callback URL are being, because it's an API call, right? So to make sure that these callback calls are being made like correctly, we are
by a proper system, right? Like not an external system that just happened to know the callback URL. Like for instance, I can't buy in a store and then use Postman to send a request to the callback URL. I need to know the VTEX
That's exactly
signature.
it. So you can like avoid frauds and other problems, because you are make sure that the payment was actually approved, and the money is being properly transferred. So what we are doing here is that we are adding this parameter in the callback URL that's called xVTEX signature. That is this token, which we can see here as a bunch of characters and numbers. And so this token here is what will identify this this callback. And when the gateway receives the callback URL, it will expect this token also to make sure that that the callback is being made by someone that actually has to do it, and not someone.
So is it a signature per account, per transaction, per connector? how many different XVTech signatures would I have in?
I think I have to make sure with the thing, but I believe this is by for every call you have a single token.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, because otherwise, if that's compromised, then what do you do, right?
Yeah, you can like pretend that you are someone else, and you can have a security issue.
That's interesting. So payments are more secure these days. That's a good
Yes,
thing to know.
yes.
And I was seeing in the announcement that you were showing that it's something that has been made mandatory since
Oh, all right.
Halloween, right? So it's already mandatory, right?
Right. So what changes here for the payment provider is that you have to send this callback
Parameter?
URL with this token, and we are making this mandatory starting from October 31st. That was from this Monday. So
Yep.
so after that date, our gateway might be refusing the callbacks if you are not using it. So what we
But we notified all payment providers, right? So
right. So
theoretically, that should have been done already. But if you haven't, here's why your payments aren't working.
that's
Make
it.
sure to
That's
add
it.
that.
So what we recommend here, so there are no mistakes, is that if you are a payment provider, you are developing a payment connector, if you're receiving the callback URL from the create payment endpoint, that will be like in the request body of the call of this API call. You just use it the same way that you received it. So you receive it just like this, and then you just copy it and call it. If when you want to make a callback, you just call it the same way that you received it.
Got it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I guess from this, we can already see that the callback URL is shared through the response of the create payment endpoint. And then after that, like the payment provider has to store it somehow so they can like keep communicating.
Yeah.
All right. That's really interesting. And I guess we have one or two final comments, minor corrections. This is a minor correction to GiftCard Provider Protocol. So GiftCard Provider Protocol is like Payment Provider Protocol, but for gift cards, right?
That's exactly it. So we have native native gift cards, but we also have external gift card providers, and they have to use our GiftCard Provider Protocol to develop solutions for VTEX. So what we are announcing here is that we just made a small change in our documentation, that it's a correction that in the paths of those three endpoints, the list all gift cards, get gift card by the end, create gift card. Was this small segment that's a /API that we removed it because it was incorrect. So we fixed it in our documentation. So if we are implementing a gift card integration and with the endpoints, if you are using that /API segment in the endpoint, you don't have to use it.
Got it. Yeah, and that would probably not affect people, after we updated it. But if you downloaded our OpenAPI schemas from GitHub, and if you're using Postman, like an old Postman collection, you might have that endpoint incorrect. So just make sure you have the latest definitions of the APIs wherever you use them. And that was actually a good example of a feedback that went right, Henrique? So in your screen, we see that feedback button. So for those of you who are watching us, if you see any error in documentation, something that doesn't look right, make sure you click that feedback button. Let us know. That's the best way for us to fix it, right? So it's a good thing that we could get some feedback and keep moving. Okay, so I guess this is the last one, also about gift cards, but it's about the gift card hub API, right? So we were talking about the fact that we have native gift cards, right? There's a system already within VTEX that people can use to, for instance, give cashbacks or produce some credit in their store for customers. But for instance, if you want to integrate your own gift card solution or a gift card solution like loyalty points, miles, there's many things that you might want to use this protocol
Yes,
for. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that there are many use cases for gift cards.
Yeah, and Gift Card Hub is just this place, right? This system where you can plug your gift card, and then all gift card options will be available for the store, right?
Right. So we have this hub that you can just put everything in one place. So this is useful, for example, oh, I'm in a store, I'm a user, and I want to, there are many gift card providers in the store, and I want to check all the gift cards that are linked into my account, so I can choose one of them in the checkout to make a purchase and then reduce the value that I will have to pay, right? So you can use the gift card hub to check everything with just one API. So
if you have a mobile app, if you have something that you want to manage all your gift cards, those are use cases, right, for that API.
Yeah, that's it. So what we are announcing here is that we have made corrections and improvements in our API reference, in our documentation. So and then first, what we have here is that there are changes for the settlement and cancellation endpoints. So there's this thing that's the transaction ID, but for these specific endpoints, the settlement and the cancellation, because of how those things work internally, we also have this TID. The difference is that the transaction ID is an ID of the transaction that is generated by VTEX, and the TID is the ID of the transaction that's generated by the gift card provider. So there are just numbers to identify the transaction, but one is generated by VTEX and the other by the provider, and we have to differentiate that. So we changed that for these endpoints of settlement and cancellation. And we also improved the documentation by adding descriptions of many parameters throughout the API. The gift card provider ID, the gift card ID, the rest range that's used for searches when you want to limit the amount of gift cards that you receive in a single
like
search.
The pagination, right?
Yes, it's for pagination, and the transaction ID and the newly added TID.
Very nice. That's it for your announcements, right? Is there anything else you'd like to talk to us about payments? Yeah. Thanks for your time, Henrique. It was really clarifying. Hope to see you next month with more payments updates.
Thanks for having me, George.
Have a good one. All right. So just if you want to keep checking out our updates, make sure to visit developers.vtex.com/changelog. That's where you'll find the latest and greatest news before they even come to YouTube. But if you'd like to see our faces, if you want to get more in-depth explanations, stay tuned. Next month, in the beginning of the month, we'll have all the updates from November in the product updates video. Well, for now, that's it. Thanks, guys. See you next time.